Hi there, dear guys and girls. Welcome back. I'm Petra. I'm a life coach and an advocate for survivors of narcissistic and emotional abuse. Trauma bonding. It's something that we unfortunately all go through, that all survivors go through. It's when we have been discarded by the narcissist or we ourselves have implemented no contact, and we go through those throes of pain, of feeling despair, and we want to feel good again. We go back to the narcissist. This is the whole trauma bonding. And trauma bonding is a biological attachment that has been created by the narcissist throughout the relationship. And you could compare it to a drug addiction. As I have said in previous videos, for several years, I was a cocaine addict. And when I decided to break that pattern to recover from drug abuse, I went through the phases of cold turkey. I went through the craving stages as well, where I craved the drug and I went back to get some more. And it was just a temporary fix, because when I would come down from that high, I would feel bad again. So this is what it can be compared to. And the trauma bonding is an intermittent pattern of reward and punishment. So you are rewarded by the love bombing, you are rewarded by the kind words, by the sweet sentiments, by the hugs, by feeling very comfortable with the abuser. And as soon as you get to feel comfortable again, this is what the abuser knows about you. They see you getting comfortable again, and this is when the punishment is thrown onto you. So the punishment would be the rage, the silent treatment, the unsatisfactory explanations when you ask for them, the blame game, the shaming. And this is what you are switched back and forth between it. It's designed to make you feel totally out of balance and out of touch with reality. So what the abuser is doing is misusing your fear of abandonment, your fear of being alone, your fear of not ever being able to find love again. This is what they misuse. They know that these are your core wounds, and this is what they are going to pour salt onto. So it is human nature that we go back to the very place where we were hurt, because we are looking to feel good again. And this is what we focus on. We focus on the good times, we focus on the good memories, and that is literally what pulls us back into the relationship. So again, human nature, the greatest source of our survival is to adapt to our environment. So when we have been discarded from the relationship, or we have moved away and we feel those throes and we go back again, we try to adapt to that environment. But logically we know, and with our intuition we know that the relationship or the friendship is not the place where we are going to grow, going to develop. We know that we have been abused, but on the other hand, we get our focus back to the good times. And this is what is pulling us back every single time. So what the narcissist will do is switch up your feelings. This is also the trauma bonding. Switch up your feelings, where you go from false certainty back to uncertainty, and then back again to false certainty and back to uncertainty. This is what they play on. They are relying on you to come back so that they can further abuse you. And even when you have been out of the relationship for a while and you still feel those, where the narcissist is taking up rent space in your head, they know this. This is literally abuse from a distance, where they are taking up so much time and so much energy in your thoughts, in your feelings. They are still abusing you. And this is a process you have to go through. Healing is a process. Breaking those trauma bonds is also a process. It is not kind or loving to yourself to expect yourself to be out of the trauma bond within a week, within 4 weeks. No, it takes time. And there is no deadline to that. It's a very personal thing. You will know when you have broken that trauma bond. You will know when you are secure in yourself, when you go through your healing, when you allow your healing to take place. You will know when the time is right, and when you have actually broken that trauma bond. So, when you re-engage with the abuser, you feel temporary satisfaction. And you also think in that very moment, you think that there is something wrong with you. You know that you are not in the right place by going back. But on the other hand, you think there is something wrong with you. And this is usually when you have been abused and you have reached you have reached your limit. When the abuser has pushed you to your limit, this is when we retaliate, we lash out. It can be physically, it can be verbally, but we will retaliate. And then a day later or 2 days later, we feel so bad about retaliating. And then we put the blame onto ourselves and we think, well, maybe I shouldn't have lashed out. Maybe I shouldn't have been so mean. Maybe I should have had more concern or more understanding for them. So we put the blame on ourselves. And this is another form of self-abuse. But just know that you can trust. You can trust your feelings trust your intuition. When you know you are being abused, follow that feeling. And give yourself time to come to terms with that. Do not beat yourself up about going back. I think the statistics for going back to the abuser is, I think it's an average of 7. We go back 7 times before we finally make that clean cut. So do not beat yourself up about it. Just give yourself time and know that this for you as well is a process. So what to do? What to do to break those trauma bonds? Well, the very first thing, this is something that I have often said, this is something that very many people on YouTube say, break those bonds by going no contact. And it's a very difficult place to be in, because when we go no contact, we're not relying on our own reality, on our own perspective. So we tend to go back. But push through that process. It's like giving birth, if I can just speak to the ladies especially. When you are going through the throes of labor, when you feel that the pain is at its most highest, when you're going through that intense pain, the thing that we'd really like to do is just stop the whole process. But we know that we have to push the baby out. The baby has to be born. It's the same thing when you are going through the process of no contact. Push through, because you are going to come out the other side. And the second thing to that, to breaking the trauma bond, is to stop the self-blaming. As I just said, stop blaming yourself. Have compassion, not for the abuser, but for yourself. Just know, be kind, be loving. Just know that you are going to get through this, but you need to give yourself the right amount of time. Another thing that really helped me was writing about my experiences, and especially with this last friendship that I came out of, the narcissistic friendship, is that I wrote down my experiences. And I used my own name, I used her name, and I wrote the story as if I was telling it to someone else, so in the third person. I wrote about all the bad stuff that I had been through, the experiences that I had, the trauma that my very own daughter went through at the hands of this woman. I wrote down every single thing, how it made me feel. I wrote about the good times as well, because of course you do have the good times. So write that down, because what you're actually doing is giving a framework to your reality, so that when you go into that self-doubt again, you can pull yourself back in by reading what you have written, reading your very own story. That is what is going to pull you back into reality. A fourth point on that is focusing on your feelings. Because so often we dissociate, we feel so much pain from the abuse that we tend to numb ourselves, we dissociate from our experiences, and we just do not feel anymore. So the way to do that is to focus, be deliberate in focusing on your feelings. Take a moment when you are feeling down, when you are feeling depressed, when you are feeling hurt. Take the time to sit and focus on those feelings. See where it shows up in your body? Is your heart hurting? Do you feel that knot in your stomach? Are your shoulders painful? Do you have a splitting headache? Just see where it shows up and acknowledge those feelings. Again, write them down. It's all about acknowledging what you've been through and acknowledging what you were feeling. Because so often when we have been in these abusive relationships, our feelings are shut down. We are told that we are not allowed to feel a certain way. We are not allowed to be a certain way. We are not allowed to have certain emotions. So again, this is taking back your power. And this is being very aware, very conscious of what you are feeling. The fifth point in that, which I think is very important, as are all the points, but this fifth point is stop your part in the battle. Because the more you feed into the battle, the more abuse is going to be thrown back at you. So stop your part in this battle. And one of those things could be that you are demanding answers from the abuser. You want to know why they did certain things, why they said that certain things, how their bad behavior relates to you. This is so often where we blame ourselves and we ask, what have I done? Why are you treating me this way? I demand an explanation from you. This is something that you are never going to get. So stop your part in this battle. Stop asking for answers. Stop asking for explanations from them. And stop looking for closure with the narcissist. Closure is something that you yourself have to do on your own and with a support group, with therapy, or with coaching. So just remember that this trauma bond is, it has a dual perspective to it. On the one hand, you have the hurt, you have the betrayal, and on the other hand, you have the growth and self-development. This is the dual perspective. Just know that when you are going through the process, you start off with no contact, and there's going to be an end to that where you are going to come through, and the middle bit is working on yourself, doing that inner work. And just know that there is a dual perspective to this whole situation of trauma bonding. Please take care of yourselves. Keep those questions coming. Please keep the emails coming. And I have a support group on Facebook. If you'd like to join, I will put the link in the description box here below the video. Take care of yourselves and keep in touch. And just know that you are not crazy. You are simply in the process of trauma bonding. And you will get out of it if you continue to do your inner work. Thank you again for watching, and speak to you all next time. Bye for now.